Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Brawley City Council, successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency for Tuesday, May 19th at 6 p.m. We can have roll call, please.
The minutes will reflect all council members present.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is invocation by Pastor Tom Dowdy from the Brawley Assembly of God.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, creator of all things, the one true source of life, we confess that we are just imperfect men and women here tonight, and that we need your help. We acknowledge you and our need for you. We confess our failures and the many times we have turned our backs to you, thinking we did not need your help. Forgive us, O God. Forgive us of our sin. We repent and turn to you. Forgive us and restore us once again. We thank you tonight for your many blessings in our lives and our fair city. You are our source of hope, peace, and purpose. And tonight we honor you, asking you to be glorified in this meeting by a spirit of cooperation and peace. We pray for our mayor and each city council member, all the city officials elected or appointed. We ask that you would grant them wisdom, that you would give them a sense of welfare for all the people of Brawley, that you would grant them a heart of justice and rightness, that you would grant them unity and harmony as they work together. Grant each of them personal peace and joy in their lives. Lord Jesus, we ask that you would give the council wisdom as they follow the agenda before them, and may you help them to make the best decisions that would glorify you and most benefit the people of Brawley. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Captain York, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Captain. Captain York, thank you, and Pastor. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
There's a
Second.
comment from our city manager prior to that?
A quick comment, want to note that under the regular session agenda, item 4C, we have a change to be reflected in the agenda, which was the addition of a fourth air conditioner unit, which is at the water plant. An addendum was issued to Project 2015-18, and it is considered in today's action before the council.
Councilmember Noriega, would you include that in your motion, please?
I want to add the fourth air conditioner for the water plant included into the motion.
And second?
So there's a motion and a second. Thank you, Councilmember Noriega.
You're welcome.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public appearances and comments, not to exceed 4 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you when you come to the microphone. Please state your name. For the record, you are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council.
Good evening, City Council, City staff, and guests. My name is Maritza Nunez, and I'm here on behalf of the Brawley Parks and Rec Commission. Last week, we had the opportunity to meet at our monthly meeting, and we were informed of the recent act of vandalism at the Lion Center pool. And we shared the sentiments with most of the community. You know, we were grateful that no one was injured, but we were also upset that it happened and to the extent that it took place. After further discussion, we found out that acts of vandalism are pretty common at our parks and rec facilities throughout the city. And as such, we would like to request for the city to explore an option of installing security cameras at the parks and rec facilities throughout the city, beginning with the Lion Center and its surrounding areas. We understand that this isn't a cure-all solution, and it may not even be feasible, but we would like the city to take one step in that direction. If this isn't the solution, then what is? Because we feel that patrons and staff and their safety could be jeopardized if they continue at the pace that they're happening. And in addition, all of the losses that the city is encountering, that those funds could be better put towards other projects. So I'd like to thank you for your time, and we look forward to, if any council member was actually, Noriega was at our meeting last week, and we'd welcome anyone for further discussion. We meet monthly at the Parks and Rec Commission.
Ms. Nunez,
So,
thank you
thank
for your
you.
comments. We appreciate it very much. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to make a comment at this time?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council and staff. Jason Zara, Brawley Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to come forward and invite you all to a couple of events we have coming up in the next few weeks. Starting next week, we have our mixer on Thursday evening at the Amerimex Pharmacy. It'll be a nice opportunity to see the newly refurbished establishment. The following week is the Branding Iron Award Dinner, which is also our chamber annual dinner. That's going to be Thursday, June 4th. And of course, you're all invited to attend. And then the week after that, Pioneers is going to be doing a kind of 2-for-1 grand opening. We're still working out some of the details, but they're going to be celebrating the opening of the Wound Care Center and another new facility. And so we've got the next 3 Thursday nights booked up, and we'd love to have you join us for as many as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zara. Appreciate the comment. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to make a comment? Seeing none, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda. That's 2A, introduction of Daniel Atondo, utility worker, by Yasmin Arellano, our Public Works Director.
And Mr. Mayor and Council, if I may, Ms. Arellano was sick today and went home midday with bronchitis, so we were sorry to see her not at her best, and she wanted to make sure we all extended a warm welcome to our new employee, and Shirley will be handling the introduction.
Honorable Mayor, Council Members, Shirley Benias, Personnel and Risk Management. This is one of the best things I do. I love introducing new team members to the City of Brawley. Daniel comes to us from Brawley Union High School graduate of 2006. He's worked in construction for about a year. He worked for National Beef for 7 years as a forklift operator, and unfortunately, as we all know, that plant closed. And then his most recent employment was with us as one of the as one of the cattle call workers that we hired temporarily. So Daniel is now a full-time, with benefits, utility worker 1. He's working with Juan Antunes and his crew. And Yasmin also wanted me to share with everyone that this young man bringing a lot of energy, and he's learning a lot of new things. Before it was just potholes and street repairs, he's getting to do hydrant replacement and working with our water and storm drains. Don't know what's exciting about that, but good for Daniel.
Sounds exciting.
It does. And as Yasmin puts it, he's very refreshing and energetic. May I introduce to you our utility worker 1, Daniel Atondo.
Daniel, congratulations, and now's a great opportunity for you to address the public. Anything you'd want to say is, floor
I
is
just want to
yours.
say thank you for this opportunity. I'm very thankful and grateful, and I feel blessed to be a part of one of the city Brawley workers. And I'm looking forward to working hard and helping out the city.
And we
I'm very
appreciate the
thankful.
effort.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Good
and
for you.
we wish you well.
Thank you.
That was the hardest part.
I know, right? Yeah, that's
All downhill.
it's all down. It's the most fun. Next item on the agenda is item 2B, recognition of Brawley Fire Department for support of the Burn Institute by Chuck Peraza, our fire chief.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Chuck Peraza, Fire Chief. I'm proud to be in front of you today to recognize our one firefighter. They were supposed to show up. They might be on a call or something. But anyways, they took to the streets on March 20th between the hours of 9 and 2 p.m. for the annual Fill the Boot drive for the Imperial Valley Burn Institute. Within that period of time, they raised over $4,700, which doubled the amount that they collected last year, and which is the highest amount ever collected in the Imperial Valley. Wow. The Imperial Valley Burn Institute started this trophy back in 2012 first 3 years, of course, El Centro took it, but we are proud that we have taken it this year. So Captain York here spearheaded the project. He collected all the firefighters, organized the times and scheduling and whatsoever. I just facilitated the engine and gave permission. Of course, they were at First and Main. The biggest recognition probably should be to the community and the citizens and people that passed by. They just collected the donations. It was the people that donated that $4,700. That money stays in Imperial Valley to help burn victims. So, Captain York, congratulations on his efforts on organizing the event this year.
Captain York. Yeah, you got your opportunity.
Thank you very much. I would like to repeat what Chief Peraza said. Appearing tonight on behalf of the Brawley Firefighters Association, we're more than happy to be out there collecting this money for the Burn Institute. The Burn Institute is very much partners with us when it comes to our prevention efforts for our annual open house and our Burn Prevention Week. In addition, like Chief Peraza mentioned, this money stays in the valley for burn victims and their families, assisting them getting to and from treatment up in San Diego, our nearest burn center. And absolutely, this money was all donated by the very generous citizens of Brawley and the people passing through. Our heart is out to them. They're the real heroes in this story. And we just look forward to our putting our name here next year.
Right.
So,
there we go.
look forward to being back again. Thank you.
Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
I do have to also thank the community, you're right, Mayor, because of the fact that when I was coming by, I could see them on the side, and I was trying to get my money out of my wallet, and then I stopped, and everybody else behind me had to stop, but thank God nobody honked, nobody got mad, so thank you to the community for that. Yes.
Yeah, great job. I mean, I know I passed by there a few times and I donated myself. So no, but I'm glad that people came out and supported with so much money, $4,700. That actually gives me an idea, Sam. I think we might put you out there with a boot to collect some funds for the city. You know, so that might be a good idea.
We may lose money.
Yeah, right.
Get more money.
It might be good. Yeah.
Maybe if we all got out there.
That's true.
we
That's
might
true.
get
Right.
a lot of money.
Or
we're not going to get anything except run over.
That's probably more accurate. That's probably more. Well, congratulations on your efforts, and thank you very much for participating. And hopefully next year you're back on top again. So great job. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Items are approved by one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately at a time determined by the mayor. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is regular business. 4A, discussion and potential action to award contract to Painting and Decor, Inc., project number 2015-15, purchase and installation, replacement of windows and door at Fire Station Number 1 in the amount of $75,900. So, Chief Peraza.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Chuck Peraza, Fire Chief. So what's before you today is the approval for the award contract for the window replacement for Fire Station Number 1. The windows that are going to be replaced date back to the early 1980s. There are some fixed windows, there are some slider windows that don't slide. So the windows are in very bad shape as we speak. The windows currently are a single pane. They are not energy efficient. And initially we went out and got informal bids, and it came around to the ballpark of $20,000. When we went back and did the formal bidding process, we found that there was some a lead detection, and we also did asbestos testing as well, which was negative. But we didn't take into account to the prevailing wages and the mitigation that would have to be done with the lead. There's a total of 24 windows and one French door replacement that's upstairs that leads out into the fire escape. There is one additive to the fire marshal's door, which is weathered, and it does not seal properly. Most of these windows do not seal properly, so it's before you for your approval. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Are there any comments from council? Any questions?
I do have a comment,
Me too.
Mayor, if I may.
Of course.
Chief Peraza, I know that this is not just a window replacement. This is where our firefighters live at a lot of the times. And I think to upgrade this facility and to make sure we take care of the guys that's out there dealing with the public, we need to make sure we approve items like this. So after the comments, I'll make the motion that we approve this item.
Councilmember Noriega?
Question, I see that A&N Quality Builders is 1,300 over the 66,000. They're the local bidders, and
Yes.
we get the Orange County.
Yes.
Any particular reason?
No, we have no idea why they were so much higher than the contractor out of Orange.
Well, it's not much of a difference, right? Is that the
No,
point?
that's the
Right.
point.
Yeah.
It's not much of a difference.
It's not much of a
Yeah.
difference.
Right. Why would we not get a local?
Is there a
person
comment there
compared to-
by our city manager? Good point.
Because we're obligated to award to the lowest responsive bidder.
Okay.
All the time? I thought,
Depending on the source of the funds, in this instance, it's our impact fees, maintenance fund, and general fund.
Yeah.
Unless we have a different read from our city attorney.
Yeah, there's some funding that you just can't give local preference to, and that's.
is this one of them?
No, this is not one that you can give local preference to. I'm working on some for IID right now where it was a request for proposal, not a straight line hard bid. And there they give points for local and this and that. So the lowest bidder doesn't always win, but this is just a straight up public works contract. And the public contract code says we have to give it to the lowest responsible bidder. Now, if the bidder that won wasn't responsible, that'd be different. But that, not responsible requires a hearing and everything else.
And they met all the requirements that we had listed too, so, but that's a very good point. So my only disappointment is that it's $56,000 above the initial estimate. I mean, it's considerable, but it's 24 windows, that French door, and, the lead detection, I'm sure didn't help anything. So it is what it is at this point.
That's correct.
Any other comments from council?
My only question, I was just trying to locate in the backup material, just the lead mitigation portion, I take it that's the collection per the demolition or whatever occurs, I'm assuming. I'm assuming also it gets transported, right?
Yes, that's correct. The responsible contractor has to be certified, first of all. Now, what they have to do is when they're removing the windows, there has to be a containment and the mitigation so the lead does not spread airborne, so to speak. And then they have to collect it, and then they have to dispose of it properly.
Right. Just, so my curiosity, what was the cost of the actual transportation?
I wasn't privy of the cost of mitigation.
I would imagine it's significant.
It's an well, I'm trying to wrap my head around. Yeah, like I said, I know the $20,000 figure, but I'm just curious if it was, does it cost $40,000, $50,000 to transport?
I'm not sure, Councilman.
So
lead contaminated paint chips or something?
In the estimate, are the hard price provided, there wasn't a breakdown based on the various steps?
So that's replacement of the windows. It's a replacement of the French door on the second floor, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And the fire marshal's
Right, and then the mitigation of the lead chips or whatever ended up being out there.
And another point to make also, these windows are not standard size.
Yeah.
They vary
So they're
in
custom.
very odd sizes. For instance, there's 3 windows that are 3 by 7. There is a 1 window that's 2 by 5. There's a 3 by 6 window, so they're not standard shape.
Sure. So they're customized to fit
Yes, that's
in those
correct.
locations? Okay. Any other comments from council? But thank you, Councilmember Noriega, for bringing up that point.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Is there a motion to approve this item? Councilmember Kemp?
I make the motion, we approve the item to do the upgrade for the fire station number 1.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
There's a second there. Is there any other discussion, comments from council? Seeing none, then we'll go on. And all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Pose.
Motion carries. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Not because I don't want to see that done.
And the opposition was just based on the fact that the local
Yeah.
offer was
Yeah.
not, right.
I'd like to see it in writing where it states that
It's a good point. I would agree with
Okay.
that as well. I think that's a valid point. Anytime we can keep money here locally, I think that's a valid reason to investigate that, so.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, and thank you for bringing that up. Next item on the agenda is regular business, item 4B. Discussion potential action to approve purchase of one marked 2015 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicle in the amount of $42,373.28 for the Brawley Police Department, utilizing the Operation Stone Garden Grant. By our chief, police chief.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, city staff, Police Chief Mike Crankshaw. Tonight, we're asking for approval for the amount of $42,373.28 for the purchase of a 2015 Ford Interceptor vehicle and the emergency equipment associated with it. The funding source for this was a approved 2014 Stone Garden grant. The primary purpose of the vehicle would be used for the Stone Garden operations, working in conjunction with CBP. We had already approved earlier another vehicle that was a part of that grant that came in by way of an addition to the approved amount, and this is the second vehicle of that grant. So.
Fantastic. Well, it doesn't impact our general fund, so that's always good. No. Appreciate that. I'll make the motion to approve.
I second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion by council? Any questions? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is regular business. Item 4C, discussion potential action to approve project number 2015-18, purchase and installation of 4 air conditioner units for the Senior Center, Lion Center, and the water plant.
I make a motion we approve this purchase of these AC units for our facilities.
I second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is discussion potential action to adopt resolution number 2015, resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, approving the overall budget for fiscal year 2015-2016, general enterprise and special funds. So I'll hand this over to our city manager. We've discussed these items multiple times. I know we've gone over our workshops, and so I know the public and we've seen it multiple times, but if you can give us a recap of that before it goes, before we make a motion to approve.
Be happy to. I have an abbreviated presentation to make to you this evening, and we also have copies of the slides here for the public, should you wish to avail yourself.
Thank you.
So I want to begin by thanking council for participating in the planning process and various workshops to support the development of the budget for 2015-2016. What we'd like to do is just do a quick recap of projects by department. In our workshop settings, we talked about the sources of funds. What I will do today is just give you a quick preview of projects that will be spearheaded by various departments. And we've gone to great effort as staff to provide best estimates for revenue projections, continuing to work on the control side of expenditures. And we look very forward to fielding any additional questions regarding what's on the horizon for next year. We're very proud to share that we are able to present a budget that assures that service levels will be maintained. We have various adjustments that we're obligated to. You'll see those referenced in the second bullet point of MOUs, as well as our Joint Powers Insurance Authority contributions. We have quite a few projects we're carrying over from last year. We have a great deal of focus on ADA-related improvements because of our obligations. And we are living up to the requirements of our general fund reserve preservation policy. You've seen this slide before. What we'd like to share with you, you'll see from 2015 to 2016, there are some changes. We're very proud to be presenting a budget that is within the parameters of operational revenues. So you'll see when we look at the operational side of the general fund, revenues versus expenditures, what we are projecting to perform to is funds in excess of $123,000 at the end of this next fiscal year. And that is not including our capital projects, which we treat as standalone one-time expenditures, and it does not include our installment for the Regional Water Quality Control Board. We have one new staff position that is associated with this next year's budget, and that is year 3 of 4 for the fire department's staffing increase relative to the opening of Fire Station Number 2. And this slide will begin the preview by department. And most of our departments are featured, although some of them are not, because they are simply a status quo presentation of this fiscal year to next fiscal year. So next year, we'll be retooling our admin secretary position in the planning department to a planning tech. We hope to be going out for advertising of that position here in the near term. We're also proposing replacement of 2 aged air conditioner units at Community Development Services.
It's a trend throughout the city, right? Replacement of AC units.
Yes. We have 3 information technology projects that are of benefit to the city, citywide, and those were discussed at great length in the workshop setting. The library is scheduled for a little refresh on the exterior paint, and we're going to take advantage of the chance to also refresh the paint at the finance and planning departments across the fountain. And on the finance end, we've initiated a TOT audit, but it will follow and be completed early next fiscal year. Citywide, we have a number of activities that continue in the next fiscal year, including our website related content, Stage 2 of our customer service initiative, and we'll be pursuing a master maintenance contract to take in all of our AC units. And we will be replacing our podium that we use for all kinds of city-related special events.
The one that was broken by us.
By us, you mean Donnie? Yeah.
Would be too much to ask.
I said us, Johnny. I said us.
Put a little engraving on it.
Yeah, right? Right. We're going to customize it with your name on it, don't worry. Donnie was here.
Yeah.
Airbags.
At Parks and Rec, we have quite a few projects being launched in the next fiscal year. They include the construction phase of the Alice Giroux Park project. We've got the Meserve restroom project that we're pursuing with the Building and Trades Council. We have a parking lot project that's going to begin this summer. It is scheduled, I'm anticipating completion in August of this summer.
What exactly are they going to do?
They're going to smooth out the surface of the senior center parking lot, which has many, many potholes.
Okay.
We've also got our downtown beautification project, a fence replacement project around the Abe Gonzalez Park basketball court.
Yeah.
We have water fountain and bleacher replacement projects at Gonzalez and Hinojosa. We've got our Plaza Park lighting project, and as you might remember, last meeting, we'll be combining Phase 1 and 2, so we're taking on both sides of the plaza next fiscal year. Our target is before cattle call. We've got a significant repair at Jeff Thornton Park, where the playground equipment's been vandalized. I do want to underscore one point relative to Parks and Rec, and that is a number of years ago, we put in temporary staffing to a number of key positions. Those still remain temporary staffing in next fiscal year, and we are very hopeful about the city's ability to restore those permanent positions at some point in the future, but don't want to forget that we're still kind of have Band-Aids in place in our operations there. Okay, public safety, we've combined fire and PD for this slide. We've got year 3 of 4 for the firefighter, the fire apparatus, which is funded by the CDBG award. We've got flooring replacement and window replacement projects that may or may not be completed this fiscal year versus next. We've acquired, you authorized window replacement tonight. The flooring will be actually performed in-house, but I believe all of the flooring supplies have already been acquired this fiscal year. The flooring will not will not be scheduled until the window work is done. We also have Fire Station Number 1's parking lot being redone with the same contractor that's addressing the senior center parking lot. And we've got a rolling gate project with a keypad technology for Fire Station Number 1. And then lastly, we've got 3 replacement patrol units for PD. So that constitutes our public safety changes. Those are our highlights. I will begin by saying Public Works has a very aggressive program for next year. I tried to package them in terms of major areas. These are the roadway projects. We know these are extremely important to our residents. We've got 2 phases of the Measure D projects. We've got the Main Street lighting project where we'll be evaluating options on Main Street between Eastern and Best. We've got South Palm Avenue rehab occurring after October 1st when the new federal fiscal year begins. We've got a street striping project similar to what we just completed here this spring, where you saw a refresh on paint on our city streets. It's the next phase of that, and we have La Paloma's Priority 2 improvements. This is the southerly extension of Eastern Avenue. Okay, on the pedestrian front, pedestrian, bikers, folks in wheelchairs, we've got a bike lane striping project, which is grant funded. We have a solution that we will be pursuing for the illuminated crosswalks that are no longer working in our city limits. We have phase 2 of the planters, benches, and racks that were supported by the Downtown Merchants Fund this fiscal year. We have various pedestrian improvements, so and funded by varying sources that our city engineer has been very successful at securing. So First Street between Main and A. Remember, we're doing a major water line project along there. There is spotty sidewalk access in that area. It's incomplete, so we have pedestrian improvements along that portion of First. We have B Street between 8th and Cesar Chavez. We also have some focused ADA improvements between 6th and Main to address ADA ramps at our corners. We have improvements to our Imperial Valley transit routes for ADA purposes, and we also have ADA improvements and bus shelters for the Gold Line, which is our circulator shuttle. So a great deal going on the pedestrian, biking, and ADA front. This next grouping is water line or water plant related. We're in the design phase of the Main Street Waterline project. There are several critical projects being taken into consideration in that scope of work. So it's I Street, First Street, and Main. We've got a major repair at approximately, I think that one was $200,000 for a component. This is phase 1. Other components coming in the future, but phase 1 at the water plant. We have a pond liner wall replacement, valve replacement project. These are, the next year of many years of regular valve replacement projects, and then some additional improvements at our water plant to sedimentation basin and finished water reservoirs. Okay, this is the sewer front. We have critical sewer line replacement projects on Adler. And on 8th Street. We also have projects that are ongoing for stormwater management and a key number of features at our wastewater treatment plant, which is the UV bulbs and UV analyzer, as well as the step screens, shades, and covers. We're still working on our biosolid study, which focuses on the end product at our wastewater treatment plant, and we've got our manhole rehab in design. That's also a CDBG-funded activity at approximately $1.5 million. So we will deliver the construction portion of that project this next fiscal year. Okay, lastly for Public Works, at the Public Works yard, we have a number of improvements scheduled. First is the large portion of the parking lot inside of the yard behind the gates. We've got 3 rolling gates that are also scheduled for installation. We have on-site parking improvements. This is the portion of the property where we had a monitoring well removed on Western Avenue. It would be to the immediate north of the main building. And then we have our maintenance shop shades. They're in design right now. We are addressing a number of shades all at once with that engineering solution. It's at the water plant, at our Parks and Rec department at the Lions Center, as well as at the wastewater plant. Thank you. And then lastly, we've got our airport runway safety improvement project at the Brawley Airport.
I just want to ask.
Sure.
Mayor, if I may, before we move on, if you go back one more slide, and not to hold up anything, and I know we've approved this in the past, but is there any possibility to do any research to see if there's new technology on the UV bulbs, that analyzer replacement? Because that's about $40,000, $50,000 at a pop. I'm just wondering, is there any new technology out there? Because we've upgraded the wastewater treatment plant and all of that. Is it something that we can do to upgrade that to minimize that cost?
I would be happy to bring that to the attention of our city
Just to
engineer
take
and
a
come
look at
back
it.
with you with potential other alternatives
Yeah.
if they are there, or if it's simply the cost
'Cause
of
it's
doing
re-
business.
And I know that technology works, but it's really expensive. I mean, if there's some new technology out there we could take a look at maybe.
I think because it's constant, I mean, it's,
Yeah,
you know,
it's a
it's
constant
constantly on, so, yeah.
But the only thing I needed to ask was after looking at those last 3 slides, I wondered if Daniel wanted to reconsider. That's
a lot of work.
Look at, he said no. That's great, love it. Good for you, Daniel.
We have a lot going on in the public works arena, and I think it's important to note a great deal of focus on the services delivered to the public. We are fortunate to have 3 civil engineers on staff, and as a result of that, we've been able to push many, many projects. We've got great divisions working, optimizing the manpower that's there. So we're grateful for that. I included this slide only to remind you that we're holding our contributions from last year constant, unless you wish to see some other set of changes. That is our presentation for today. Somehow I managed to skip over
You did
one,
skip over one.
and
but
I do apologize. I don't know why it's not.
I think overall, though, great presentation. I know we've been working on it together with staff, with you and the rest of staff over the past several months, but, you know, I speak from my experience and on council in that I really do think this presentation is really solid. I especially like the narrative that you wrote for us, the memorandum that we received. It's not just for us, but it's also historical. When people see this in 3 years, they know where we were at this time. So I think that's very important because, you know, there's times where we can't necessarily look back and see a clear picture of why things happened. I think this is a very clear indication of why we're moving forward with these items. So thank you for that, and I congratulate you on the effort. So.
And I also add that people ask me, why are you in such a good mood? Why are you so happy? This is part of the reason. I see our city going forward. I see a lot of changes coming up and have had changes. And the staff, I don't get as many complaints as I used to or concerns because they see the changes. They see that we're, you know, going forward and we're doing changes and the staff has a better attitude, I have to say. I really see the staff, you know, well, maybe one who nodded his head, but other than him, everybody else seems to be happy. So thank you again to all the staff and to everybody who has supported everybody's ideas, okay?
Thank you.
Along with the police and the fire. Thank you.
I echo the positive comments. I think it's been a fairly, I mean, it's always hard for you at the level of day-to-day operations to balance a budget. I know it is. And so with the staff that we have and trying to meet all the needs of the city. So I think it's important that we do so. And it appears that this year, actually, we've done it fairly quickly and fairly efficiently. And I think it's really a great testimony for the staff and for the city of Brawley that we're able to do that. And I think especially with the beef plant going out, with all the challenges that we faced in the last couple of years, I think it's very, very important that we show a solid fiscal side of the city for the public to see. And I think that's very important. You're all to be committed for that. And I appreciate all your efforts in that area. I'm sure we as a council do also.
The icing on the cake will be the J Street house being knocked down. That will be the best. I will have a party.
I just want to say thank you to Rosanna and staff for putting together the information because, you know, and I say this, you guys are the experts. You and staff, and you guys are the experts. You guys bring us good, solid information. It allows us the opportunity to make good, solid decisions, and we have come a long way. We've dealt with a lot of hurdles, and I think right now the city of Brawley is pretty nice. I mean, it's calm, and people ask all the time, man, how's things in the city? Well, it's really kind of quiet. It really has been, and I want to thank you and staff for making that happen, and we work together to make those decisions, so. Well.
Don't spoil it tonight.
Other than a broke window or two, I mean, no, we're good. We're good, and I appreciate that.
We'll fix it.
And again, comment I'd like to not only echo, but in addition, this is fantastic, the fact that, again, this is accessible, of course, to the public. The worksheet on both revenue and expenditure side really allowed, I think, most of us, certainly on council, but the public as well, to go into the detail. And as they always say, the devil's in the details. And this is, I think, just a great document, obviously for the summary, for what we're talking about right now. But I want to echo and remind that has been hours and hours and hours, and not only that, the budget approval's one part, execution's another. So the fact that we're really building, I think, a great history in terms of what we've accomplished as a city together, and this is an absolute together. I want to actually commend my council as well, because I think it goes back to strategy. The fact that a couple years ago we started having strategy workshops, really trying to frame where we want to go, I think it's paying off. There's no question. So again, I feel this is just a great accomplishment. I want to thank, obviously, all staff members here, but it takes every single staff member to allow this to happen. And I look forward to next year. This is exciting. So I'm going to go with the city manager in saying that from a budget standpoint, it's very difficult in this environment where we can say we see a nice light at the end of the tunnel as far as where we're heading. So.
No, you've done a good job, Rosanna, as in leading the group. It really has taken all of staff and council to work together, and honestly, I can tell you that you've done a fantastic job in leading that direction and following the direction that we're providing you. So, and I don't compliment everybody always, but I will compliment you here publicly, and I think that you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
You weren't a city manager when you first started, but certainly you've become a fantastic one. So congratulations, and congratulations to the entire staff. So having said that, I would like to make a motion to approve to adopt the resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley approving the overall budget for fiscal year 2015-2016.
Second.
There's a second. Is there any other discussion?
I second that motion. You guys can have tomorrow off.
Right. Any other comments? So all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations and thank you.
Very much.
And
thank you to
staff.
Ruby.
Thank you all very much.
Money lady.
No raises yet, but.
Right. The next item on the agenda is informational reports. Francisco Soto, building official, record of building permits for March 2015. Are there any questions from council regarding that report?
Just a comment.
There's a comment? Councilmember Couchman?
Looking at that report, I noticed there's a lot of activity within the city of Brawley right at this time, and we have 12, on that report are 12 new homes. I think that's significant for the city of Brawley. And I noticed there's a lot of building going on in some of the different areas of Brawley, and I think that's a positive for us at this point in time. And I noticed from that building report, it keeps growing, it gets larger and larger each time we have a meeting, it gets a little bit bigger.
Right.
So I think that's important. There's a lot of remodels, there's a lot of patios, there's a lot of things happening out there in Brawley. So I think that's important for our overall growth and our standard of growth.
A lot of air conditioners going out too, so this is the time when they start to ramp up. So, yeah, good point. Any other
And-
comments?
Yes, and then we're going to have some more, business licenses coming up also, not just for the new ones, but also for some old ones that we haven't, been able to get in previous months. So I just want to commend Manuel for heading that project and for our chief here being behind him. The city manager knows more or less what I'm talking about, but it's a long story, but I have to say that they're working really hard to get out there and get those businesses and get them upgraded to getting their licenses.
Fantastic. Well, we're moving on to city council member reports. We'll begin with council member Noriega.
Okay. I went to a Brawley Elementary School board meeting. It gets pretty packed, and one of the best things is when the students have their accomplishments, and one of the students was my grandson, so that was probably the main reason I was there. Bruce and his classmates, there was 3 young ladies, they did they competed at the county level they did a filmmaker and short story, and my grandson was Mr. Rufus. He was the robber, and the other girls made him look bad, though, because they robbed him instead of robbing whoever he was supposed to rob. They robbed it from him. So they all got second place award for the county, so proud to say about that. Then I went to the Chamber of Commerce meeting that normally Sam goes to, but he had someplace else he needed to be. So I went there, and I thought it was really great, and I want to thank Lorena and our city manager, Rosanna, for giving me all the information, and they were very happy to receive that information. They thought Sam talked a lot, but I was, wait. They thought Sam talked a lot, but they got a lot of information out of me, so, and they enjoyed it. And they said every once in a while, if Sam wants to get off and I want to come in, they're happy to take me. Thank you, Sam. No, it's good, Sam. It's
We'll talk.
And then I went to the BUHS Senior Awards last night, which was pretty packed, but it took an hour and a half to get to my Bs. It was a long night, but I have to say, I'm thankful for our community for giving thousands and thousands of dollars of scholarship money to our students at Brawley Union High School. And also to reiterate on the security cameras at the Lions, because I am one of the commissioner for the Parks and Rec, it is very important. Our students, again, that is something that needs to be working at all times. Again, those are for our kids, our grandkids, and all the students here in Brawley. So hopefully we can save money instead of having these people vandalize. If they know we have cameras, they will stay away from that. So hopefully we consider the cameras. And I believe that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Noriega. Councilmember Couchman.
I did attend the Veterans Employer Appreciation Luncheon in Imperial at the Veterans Hall. Pretty well attended, quite a few veterans there in the audience, and also employers around the valley who employ veterans. And I think that's important. We're coming up on Memorial Day. I think it's important that we recognize veterans and also veterans that are deceased now or active duty military personnel. Everybody should be honored. It was a pretty good event. They did award an award to the top employer, who is the contractor out at the Navy base. And excuse me, but I don't remember the name. It has some initials, but basically they do make that award and they make it a recognition. They did have our proclamation for Veterans Employment Week, I believe, or Veterans Employment Month. They did have our Brawley proclamation up there and a bunch of the other ones in a nice display, and I thought that was great that we had one there. And I was pleased to represent the city of Brawley there at that event. I did do the scholarships at Brawley Union High School. I did present some scholarships on behalf of IBROP Community Foundation. There were probably 40 or 50 presenters there. It was a long evening, but it is really nice to go and see the parents and see the students that are going on to higher education, and to see the community assist them, and the businesses within the community, and private people within the community that support that for the students here at Brawley Union High School. Very, very nice. I will be going to Calipatria High School to deliver some scholarships over there also, and so I look forward to that in the coming weeks. I did notice increased police activity around town in the last few days and maybe the last few weeks. We do appreciate that. I know some people might see that as negative when they're stopped, but I did talk to a couple of people that were stopped, and they didn't seem unhappy about it, so that's probably a real positive thing. But I see a lot of police activity. I see a lot of policemen on the street. I think that's important in the city of Brawley. Law enforcement is important. In fact, one gentleman was stopped, and they gave him a warning, and they wrote him up for a fix-it ticket, but he said that was fine. He wasn't upset.
Are you that person, Sam?
It was not me, but I drove by, and that's why I asked him, what his experience was like, and he did tell me, and he said everything was a good experience, and so he didn't like it. That's just a personalized story.
Thank you for pulling me over.
He didn't dislike it. Let me put it to you. Okay. I don't know how much he liked it, but he was happy that he didn't get a ticket for some kind of moving violation.
They're still close to him.
Yeah. But
Again,
I've noticed a lot of activity in that area, so that's good, and I think that's important to have that out there in the city. I do sometimes call our employees after hours for emergency items. I don't like to do that, but occasionally I will make a call, and I can say that when I do have to make those calls, everybody responds in a positive way, and we usually get the issue resolved. Sometimes I call Rosanna, sometimes I call Yasmin, sometimes I call other departments. Not often, but I don't like to do that, but I do occasionally, and I do appreciate the response that I get and the fact that we usually get it taken care of. And
They're usually very happy to receive your call, too.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Yeah, I'm sure they are, after hours, but that's okay. But I do appreciate the staff, everybody out there, and I do look forward to working with everyone in the future. And it's coming on to summer, and I know that it will get hectic out there. So, okay, so thank you with that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilmember Couchman. Councilmember Campbell.
I've only got a couple of things. I do want to comment on the Parks and Recreation with the cameras and stuff. And I understand that we do need surveillance in most of the areas. But I will ask this, that we evaluate what's going on and make sure that if we're going to invest in surveillance, we invest in good equipment. Because I've seen a lot of times where companies in different places buy surveillance equipment, and if you go in there and buy cheap equipment, you're not going to recognize the people or whoever's in that area anyway. So if we're going to do that, we need to make sure we look at it and make a good choice on equipment, because
Totally agree.
surveillance equipment is expensive, and if you ain't got nobody watching it, and then you've lost.
Or if it gets stolen, right?
Well,
That's
yeah.
true, yeah.
And
It happens.
I do agree that we need to start and maybe one area at a time, go with that, but, and it is, and some of the damage that was caused is very expensive, so. I attended the SCAG Regional Conference meeting in Palm Desert with some of my other colleagues, and I enjoyed it. There was some nice recognition going on there, and Councilwoman Mrs. Walker from El Centro was appointed to the president of SCAG, and that's nice to see folks from the valley getting, recognized in some of those positions to do good work over there. So, and that was a nice conference. Other than that, things have been pretty quiet, and as always, I appreciate staff and what you guys do, and I just ask that God continue to bless you guys and your families, and thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Campbell. Mayor Pro Tem Morton.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to kind of point out, I have both a direct and indirect involvement with Imperial County Film Commission through one of the organizations I'm involved in, but just wanted to kind of give a nice little acknowledgement to the recent filming and production of Bad Batch up by Salton Sea, and I think many of us maybe noticed that Brawley sort of almost hosted that production in a way. So very grateful, again, to the commission that we had that presence here. I think there were some celebrity sightings. I don't know if anyone noticed on social media, if you're on it. If not...
I saw Sam Couchman.
You saw... Yeah, I did. it kind of blew up. There were several, Keanu Reeves sightings and photographs and selfies and mustaches and all that kind of stuff. And what I thought was gracious, though, I think a lot of the celebrities that were in town were very good about interacting with our local public. So I would like to think they enjoyed their time here in Brawley. So just big kudos to our services, our town, in kind of playing host. Also, and hopefully we continue to attract that. This is EMS week for me. I just want to give also that acknowledgement out there, Chief, and Fire Chief, sorry, Chief, and obviously as being part of that industry, but really just being mindful of all of those who are on the first responder front line that are handling our sick, our ill, our injured, that are doing that, taking care of that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So great deal of pride of being part of that industry. But again, it's something I know that we hold dear here in Brawley as well. So just remember those folks during EMS week. There's a golf tournament taking place at Del Rio this Saturday. Most of us here in the EMS community in Imperial County will be part of that, helping to support that, sponsor that. So look forward to that.
And that stands for?
I'm sorry, Emergency Medical Services.
Thank you.
Emergency Medical Services. So, yep, no, it's a good question. I mean, not to take that for granted.
Not everybody does.
I'm in aviation. We talk in code. You know what I mean? My wife still doesn't understand half of what I talk about, but that might not be aviation. But
that had nothing to do with the code, brother.
Exactly.
You did that on purpose.
Just last but not least, I do want to kind of throw out the reminder. I think we mentioned a lot about veterans coming up Memorial Day. Memorial Day to me is just always reminding that we're remembering those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, and we have those heroes right here in our own hometown. I know there's a tendency to kind of support all of our troops, both active, living, working, retired, et cetera, but what Memorial Day truly is, it's remembering those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. So again, I hope everyone has a great, yes.
You brought a good thing up, and when you brought it up, I wasn't thinking. They are going to do the walk from Westmoreland to Brawley again. And so they need some help from the city with toilets, one for the men, one for the women, but portable ones that travel with them, so we need to...
Do you have a point of contact?
Yes, I do. So I will give you that number.
I don't believe we've been contacted yet about
No, they asked
the walk,
me to.
But we need to walk through some of the insurance issues
I told them
relative
about
to-
that, yes.
okay, entrance.
Yes, because they're going to meet here at the wall, and I told them about the $80-some one that are, or more, or whatever it is, okay, they don't care. Whatever it is, they want to get through it this time without any problems, so.
Great. So if you have the contact information, I'd be
Yes.
happy to follow up.
After the meeting, I will give it to you. Thank you.
We can help with that.
My final wrap was just for everyone to have a great weekend, enjoy your time with the family, and remember Memorial Day. So
Enjoy your graduation with your son.
that's where I'm heading.
Real quick, I did attend the Southern California Association of Governments Conference with Councilmember Campbell, and our city manager was there too. Good information. It was well attended, and congratulations to Cheryl Walker for being the president of SCAG. I think that's a big boost for our region. It's certainly a strength for Brawley as well, even though it's a sister city out here. So congratulations to her, and I'm glad to see. I was able to meet some of the presenters, interesting concepts as far as business models that they have, and really great technology out there. So there's some things that are being applied today, even like, for example, in the trucking industry, where they have a sort of a Uber style application to where local trucking companies can be called at the last minute and they can transport, whether that's to Long Beach or anything like that. So I thought that was a really great concept, and hopefully we see that develop throughout Southern California. But overall, great conference. Also was able to attend, as part of the Film Commission, the Bad Batch. They had night filming taking place last week, so I was able to visit the set, and we didn't get to meet him because he was working, but Keanu Reeves was there filming some scenes, and it's really a great little experience. I've been to other sets before, but it's great to see that, they did come out to Brawley and they supported our environment and our business environment out here. But a lot of locals were hired as well. It's a smaller budget. It's about a $10 million film, so it's not a large budget film, but certainly there was a lot of locals that are going to be appearing in the film. There was a rave scene, and if you're familiar with Burning Man, they had the the boombox that comes out in that, it was out and it was present, but that day I think they had several movie stars on set there. So it was a good experience, and I'm glad to see that they're out here spending money because they hired local security forces, they hired locals to participate in the film, so they'll get credit on the film. So, you know, it's all those positive things. As the Film Commission, we're continuing to raise awareness about our area and get people to come out and support the environment by spending money out here, filming out here. They're staying in local hotels. They stayed here in Brawley, so it's always good for the city whenever there's filming in the north part of the county. So I'm glad to see that as well. And I wanted to congratulate Mayor Pro Tem Wharton for being featured in the Desert Review. Lloyd, thank you for featuring Mayor Pro Tem Wharton. It's a great story on Donnie and his family, so it's good to see that that's being featured, and I think there's a second part to the series, and there may be like a 16-piece series, from what I understand, right? It's going to go on for several months, so thank you for that, and congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Wharton, and congratulations to your son.
Thank you.
I think you should be really very proud. I know you are. And I know your family means a lot to you. But congratulations on behalf of the city of Brawley, on myself as the mayor of the city of Brawley. Congratulations to you. And
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so, having said that, we'll move on to our city manager's report.
Just one item, you may hear out in the public that some phone surveying has begun. You may recall some time ago a feasibility study that had a scope of work associated for regional animal control and the regional communication system came to the city of Brawley for our participation in determining whether or not there's support for a future ballot measure to address regional animal control and potentially address backbone improvements for the regional communication system. We have a working group that's in place. All of the city managers, CEO's office, public health, and a number of other stakeholders are a part of it. We're working with the Lou Edwards group to fine-tune the survey. The survey will target typical voters countywide, and it's intended to test whether or not regional animal control and public safety-related communication has enough support for either a 50% plus one general ballot measure or a specific purpose measure that would require a 2/3 majority. So looking forward to those results coming forward this summer. They'll have a written determination, but the body of outreach to the public, if there are inquiries out there, it is going to be happening in the first and second week of June. So if you have any questions, happy to take them, but that's all that I have to report today.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council for our city manager?
No.
None? Next item is the treasurer's report. Anything to report? Glad to see you're back, and great to see you out here. Next is city attorney's report.
Okay, there's a number of things for closed session, but for open session, there's two things. One is J Street. The contracts are in place. The hearing has been set. It's going to be, I haven't received my official notice yet, but I asked the receiver, when is it? Because council wants to know. June 24th. The buyer is James Taylor, is a local landlord developer. He has his bond in place. He has his crew ready to start work as soon as it's approved. So that's J Street. There's another thing, and this isn't really legal, but it is legal. There's a big scam going around, and both my wife and my mother receive these calls. So if they're getting it, a lot of other people are getting it too. But there's people that are calling up and saying they're working for the U.S. Department of Treasury and telling you that the marshals are on the way to arrest you for tax evasion. And if you pay right now, give them access to your bank account, they'll call off the marshals. My wife was so upset, she called the FBI, and the FBI agent said, they called me too. So these are guys from Syria that are doing this. So whatever you do, tell everybody don't fall for it. The IRS doesn't do that. They just take the money, and call you later.
Yeah.
They'll just take your money. They don't tell you they're going to take it.
They don't want us, they
ask
want
you
the
to
money.
pay. They'll ask you to pay it.
I'm gonna take that so seriously that when the IRS is calling me, I'm gonna be like, you know what?
My city manager.
Yeah, you know what Bill told me? He said not to listen to you.
But they don't take payments over the phone.
I know, right? Well, thank you for that. Our city clerk's report? None, nothing to report. Again, I want to thank you all for attending, and staff, again, thank you very much for all the work. Ruby, I know that you worked on it, and so did all the individual departments, but again, thank you for all the hard work in adopting a balanced budget, and thanking City Council for doing their work tonight. So again, thank you. We'll take a 3-minute break, and then we're going to go into closed session to get out of here. Thank you all very much.